All right, David Prince from T3 Trading. Good morning and welcome to Pre-Market Prep.
Good morning. I had a blow up. Sorry, I like computers and video. Like right when I was to do this, I'm using some cockamamie speaker versus my fancy microphone. Is everything working now? Like
you
sound perfect.
You look good. We can hear you. We're all good. So
all good.
Let's get straight into it. I mean, I know a couple weeks ago you had some great trades on SMCI. Walk me through, what your trades were, how you played it, and what you've been doing since then.
All right. First off, thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
I love this show. So I was basically of the opinion we're at a few focus areas as 24 started. Like the rest of the world, AI was certainly a theme, but then it was like underneath the less obvious stuff. And one was most certainly, the way I look at my money is just, I'm sure you guys do too. It's just best risk reward. I don't care like how many people are in that theme or if I'm in the Fed. I just want wherever I can make the most money legally with the least amount of risk. And biotech into 24 was definitely one of those areas. I know the industry pretty well. I'm not a scientist, but I understand the capital a lot of these big companies have and how they don't have the growth they used to, from the Bristol Myers, the Amgens, the Gileads. They need to become growth companies all over again. They can only do it by probably buying the Vikings of the world. I also financed privately Immunome, which is kind of the story stock of biotech the last couple of months, because one of the most important men in biotech who founded Seagen, he took over Immunome and he became the CEO. So that was a big play of mine for the last couple of months. Anyhow, I've been very biotech enthused, so that's been a focus of mine.
And XBI, and you've been correct. I mean, XBI has been blasting off here. What is impressive about this XBI rally is that the TLT has not rallied. And what we saw last year was the TLT selling off. That means XBI is going to sell off. The TLT rallying, well, XBI will rally. November rally and the XBI was all TLT and interest rate driven. Well, now we're seeing separation here, where the TLT is not rallying, but the XBI is. And I love that disconnect. It's showing you the strength of, speculation coming back into this market and speculation into some biotechs. And that's what this market has been missing, is like, oh, it's been, the tech trade. Well, biotech is a tech trade here too. And I think it's just been held back because of interest rates here. So what are your thoughts going forward? I mean, it's been a pretty good run for you on XBI here. Can this run continue?
So first off, I just want to say, like, exactly what you said. I did a video on it 2 weeks ago. I'm like, we have hints that the only thing that you didn't include is without TLT, without IWM, because they're so tied in together, right? I said, without IWM, it's showing signs. I could have replaced that with TLT. Now, like anything else, the risk reward is not so levered, at least in my opinion, to the upside, right? I think it's in a bull trend and the charts look great. But I'm expecting, if you look at that weekly, that 100 to 101 was always my big target area, which for me, any index that can go up, the equivalent of well over 50%, that's a big trade. I think we'll take a rest. But I don't want to get overly macro, but I do think the wind is at biotech's back, because it did underperform, not for a year, not for two, but for 3 years, because big cap pharma really is slowing. Outside of this whole weight loss craze, they really need to buy growth or find it via mergers. And a lot of these companies, they're not idiots. They borrowed money at 1% and 2% and sit on a lot of capital to put to work. In fact, my buddy, the CEO of Immunome, I shouldn't say my buddy, but I'm a fan of Clay. His whole business model at Seagen and now Immunome is around buying other assets, right? It's not just about what we say organic growth. So I think mergers, acquisitions, it's going to be a big story. But 101 rest time is kind of my thought on XBI. And I'll be a buyer, 94, 95, because I think the trend continues. Because once interest rates actually do go lower, if they ever finally do, that's like a whole nother lever that's probably the more important lever than what we're seeing, and yet we haven't even seen it.
Right. So we're on the line with David Prince again from T3 Trading. David does have a free webinar tomorrow night at 4:30. I'm going to drop the link in the chat if you guys want to go ahead and sign up for that. Just some great insights here from David. And again, a great follow on Twitter as well. I'll drop that too. You mentioned that the interest rates coming down would be great for biotech stocks. Do you think that's the next big catalyst here? Or what else are you looking for in some of these names that you're trading?
Yeah, so some of them have just moved already. Like we see what's going on with Viking. This is a fundamental story driven, right? Immunome, which was, I guess, a lot of people started following me because of it. When Clay came in, the prior, just to remind people, the prior founder of Seagen, the stock was 6 or 7. Now we're 25. I'm not trying to avoid the question, but I think it's more a case-by-case basis. You can't just go out and say all biotech stocks are going higher because they have these outsized moves, right? I mean, look at this JANX. Do you guys even know what it is? I had never seen this name until this morning. It's up 125%. So I think we have to look under the hood. Where's there meat left in the moves? Where's there not? And I don't have a lot, to be honest with you. I'm very picky on biotech. I don't have 5 names I love now, because they've all moved so much. So it's going to be more case by case. And that's how I'm going to play it. Immunome, I'm a buyer. They did a secondary at 20 the other week. I was an aggressive buyer. Bounced right to 27. I'm price sensitive. It's like a 30 some odd % move in a couple of days. So into 27, I trend. And I think this whole rally's been amazing, right? Everyone talked about it being a bear market rally 6 months ago. It turned out to be a great bull market. Now I'm like a little less excited about the market. So I'm definitely not buying up here on a lot of stuff. Sorry to be long-winded, but figured I should be detailed. And
yeah.
Are you looking at potentially, getting short the market here? Are you looking for opportunities to get short the market, or are you just kind of sitting back and analyzing here at this point in time?
Well, so I've tried to be that guy, right? Try and call a top. So I'm smart enough, or at least I lost enough money to know I'm not going to be successful at that. So what I am going to do is a case-by-case basis, look to get short and look to put on more hedges. And I always tell people, in these great bull markets, you don't have to try and make a big market call. You just have to be short once or twice here or there. And frankly, on your baby, which I just want to say out loud, I mean, you were very comfortable holding SMCI as it was going higher, and it kept going. I was like, this guy's pretty good at holding winners. But
not usually. I just got lucky on that one.
Well, that one you did. I just thought it's worth saying because I was impressed. But I put out a short, like a very significant short on that name about 2 weeks ago via stock and puts as it was crossing 1,000. And I'm not mentioning it because it was such a great trade. I'm mentioning because that's how I'm going to short the market, is be more opportunistic, not short the Q saying this is the top, right? I still think there's plenty of meat on the bone underneath. Let's say if small caps work and continue to work, Solar, which is the dog of all dogs and still reporting poor numbers, but might be pointing to a bottom in the industry via end phase, that'll work. There's still areas I'll be looking at, right?
How did you short it, David? How did you short it?
That was a nuts one. So I shorted it by being willing to take some pain. Thursday evening.
Like you
I'm going to walk you through it
with some stock. Yeah, I just wanted the actual strategy.
Let him walk you through it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Thursday at 97 RSI, I said, I've done this before. This is what I'm good at. But I know the only way I'm good at is to be in pain, right? And hope it opens up on Friday, right? I don't like 92 RSI. We all know, if we've been around, it could be 94 RSI, and 94 can be 95. It gets so silly once it gets that overbought, you can't quantify. But usually, if you try not to manage your P&L too much, that's when you get close to that whoosh. So I just simply said 97 RSI, 980, 970. I'll be short stock and I'll start buying puts. And I did. I bought the 900s and the 750s for like that week and the week after. And I went short stock. That morning at 10:50, I said, well, I had a plan. And I said I was willing to take pain. And that's usually my best signal. That here we are at 98. I'm not throwing good money after bad. I even told Inner Circle, I said, guys, if you're going short thousands of shares overnight of this, you're going to be blown out. And when they finally ring the bell and say, like, it's time to be all in short, you're going to be blown up. So you're much better if you're going to even enter a trade like this. The way I look at it is to be small and look for that entry intraday or miss it, right? There's no need. So that's what I did. I was literally short a few hundred shares, which for me is not a lot. And then after the open, when we took out that low, I said, okay, I deem this to be a really special possible short. That can be like shorting the entire market and catching a 10, 20% correction. So we added 950 puts for the day. I had 750s and I had 900s. And by the way, I'm a bozo, always sells too soon. Like 950 puts went from like 3 to 150. I think.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah, no exaggeration.
What is that? 50?
I was out by like
50
30
times?
and 40, like a total idiot. But there were people that made their year, and I just want to go back to it, on that one short. So I think, no like salesmanship or any of that crap. Like people, like accounts that aren't multi-million-dollar accounts had their year done. And that's kind of how I see the market. If something comes up, great. If not, I'm not going to look to short the Qs or short IWM. In fact, I'm adding exposure to IBM because I think it's going to play some catch up. I think now makes sense that it does. Maybe I'll be wrong. But that's how I'm going to short the market, is just, intermittent opportunities via different vehicles, SPX, things like that. But
and when you see, go ahead,
I just want to say, so summing this up, and I think David did it the absolutely correct way. A little taster when you feel like it's getting close.
Hedges are fine.
And then what I've always said is, when shorting stocks, and I've shorted stocks my entire 25-year professional trading career, is kick them when they're down. Kick them when they're down. And you know what happened? It fell at 50 points. And I tweeted out that morning as well. When it got down to 1,000, I said, I think the bubble just popped. And
so I want to say something. The real money is when at 1,000 is not being too quick, right? Thank God I was good. I actually rode that short to about, out of fairness, not 800, like 890, 880. I was out. But the key to a short like that is if you're going to accept the pain, and I said this out loud, I was like, you don't short a stock like this overnight and be willing to be down that type of money to make 50 points, or else you have a really dumb risk reward model. Like you shouldn't manage money, right? So if you're going to be in it, now that you're on the right side of it, stay on it. So that was kind of the key where I'm proud of. We didn't just, 950, we're up 100 points. I still say if you're going to have the balls to do something that, I want to say it frankly, 90% traders that really haven't been around should not do this type of thing, right? It'll just put them under. But if you've been around and you manage real money and you can afford to do this, then you better stay in it when you're winning. And we hung in there, so it worked. Anyway, I'm glad to see
a lot of your trades really well. Congratulations on that.
Thank
you guys rocked that SMCI trade. So tell us about, what's the next, you got something else? Like, what do we got here? You got the XBI, you got the SMCI. There's been a lot of good David Prince calls here. We want the hot stuff.
So I wish, I'm not going to pretend like I wish I had something special to bring to the table. I will say Mara last week. I looked at Mara and I looked at Bitcoin, that tight formation, right? And I'm not even a chartist. I'm sure one of you guys is probably like a fancy chartist. I know how to read charts, but I don't draw them. And I looked and I was like, wow, this is tight. If this was Tesla, right? If this was Amazon, we'd be getting really excited for when it breaks out of this from that 50 to 52. So I bought Mara in anticipation of that. Not because I like the company. It really tends to be the best proxy in terms of percentage gains. So it's been a monster.
Yeah. It's the ultimate leveraged play.
Right. Now, do you go out and buy it? No. So my point is, I don't see a ton of meat on the bone with too much, except IWM as a whole. That's where yesterday, I'm just direct. I took some profits in Immunome at 25. I took some profits, ENPH, I had bought some into the 50-day. It was 122. I took some profits there. SMCI, I was long over the weekend, 890, took some profits, and I looked, and I had this pile of cash, and I said, I can sit on it, or where do I see the best risk reward? And I said, IWM, as we get closer to that Fed meeting where we are not going to see them cut rates, doesn't it enable the narrative of, okay, the next Fed meeting, we have a decent shot? And if that's the case, does money sit and wait for the confirmation, right? They didn't with XBI. we might just have a move. So I added so I don't have some special one name call for you today. Hopefully there'll be a name that comes up at the right price, but I'm really price sensitive. So for now it's, hey, I saw risk reward still like a historic under performance versus big cap. I added to IWM yesterday. I was pretty comfortable doing so. 200, 201.
Well, there you have it. David Prince again with T3 Trading. David's got a free webinar coming up tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link in the chat one more time. If you want to hear some of his trade ideas like that SMCI short, go ahead and sign up for that webinar. David, thanks again for coming on. Looking forward to catching up again soon.
Thanks. Sorry if I was discombobulated. Not having a camera, speaker, all before I had to come on was not fun. Anyhow,
that's how we roll, David. That's how we roll on PreMarket.
Have a great day. Enjoy.
You do the
Thanks,
same.
David.